It got back ordered on Amazon. So I ordered it a few weeks ago, but it's not going to come until the end of next month. Yeah. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today we are going to be doing my first, well, really tag video in general. And it's a book tag, so I figured it'd be perfect. I actually originally saw this on Sara Carolli's YouTube channel. And I don't know if it's a thing that's like actually a thing or if she made it up, but regardless, I think it's awesome and I'm very excited for it. It's called the Mid-Year Book Tag. We have 11 questions here and we're just gonna go through them and talk about some of the very standout books that I've read so far. I've only read, I think, 26 books so far this year at our midpoint, almost the end of June, which is really good for me because honestly, my goal for the end of the year is 50 books. So I'm like right on track. So let's just start right off. Question 1 is the best book you've read so far in 2023. I couldn't just pick one, so we have 3. And I can almost guarantee that if you've even watched one of my other videos, you know what the first one is gonna be. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I have spoken about this book just all the time. Everyone I meet that likes books, I'm like, have you read Magnolia Parks? Have you read it? Like, it's that book for me. And I read this book, I think it was in like March or April. And I actually have a whole reading blog on it to capture all of the moments. So many tabs. It's a book that I think about every day. I have all of the rest of the series right here, and it's a book series that I cannot wait to continue. But I'm really taking it slow because I love this series so much. I feel very lucky because I did end up getting all of the 4 original covers of all the books that are out right now because Jessa Hastings just posted that she did like a cover design for Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates, the first 2 books in the series, and I understand why she did it, but I love these covers so much better. This is about Magnolia and BJ. It's basically Gossip Girl meets drama and amazing quotes and the best book ever. I've talked about it in so many other videos, trust me. So that is our first book. The next book that I have is Daisy Jones and the Six. This is the best book, another best book that I've read so far this year because all of the things that come with this book. This book alone and the audiobook, it's also an interview style, so the audiobook is perfect. It's the best audiobook that I've ever read, and I highly recommend listening to this audiobook if you're reading this book. I gifted this book to one of my friends because I know that she would love it. If you couple the audiobook with this book with the Prime Video series, that is just amazing and perfect, with the album that is out on Spotify from Daisy Jones and the Six, like, it's just the whole world that was created because this book is why this is another amazing book. I listen to that album still to this day. This tells the story of the formation of a rock band. Your main character, Daisy Jones, joins a band of the Six, and it's a right person, wrong time trope. It's obviously like the rock star famous trope. Read the book and then watch the series because it's slightly different, but they're still just amazing. That is our second best book. The third one is one that I just finished reading recently, Happy Place by Emily Henry. I read this book in my last video that was out last week, 24-hour reading vlog. So if you want more of a deeper summary on that, go watch that book. Go watch that video. This is Emily Henry's newest release. It is such a summer nostalgia book. It's about Win and Harriet, and they are basically pretending to still be dating for the sake of their yearly friend trip, and it's told in past and present point of view. Happy Place. Just, if you've read it, you know. The second question is best sequel you've read so far in 2023, and for this, I didn't really read very many sequels. The Hoffman Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I read this in the very beginning of the year. It's the sequel, the second book in the Inheritance Games trilogy. I gave this book 5 stars. I also have a reading vlog up on my channel for this book, so I'm not going to say too much about it. Go watch that video if you're curious for more. Everything about the Inheritance Games series, I love it. I love the twists and turns, the riddles, the story, the 4 grandsons, just everything about this book I love. A lot of things get answered, and they're setting up for the finale, which is the final gambit for the 3rd book. And I think there's another book coming out though. This is the best sequel that I've read so far this year. Question number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. 3 books for this question. The first one is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I really want to read this book. I'm waiting for a beach day because it's like just not been beach days lately in New Jersey. I've heard such mixed reviews on this, so I think that's part of the reason why I'm kind of delaying it. Right now, in my mind, this is a really great book, and I don't want to actually read it and then it ruins it. Which sounds terrible, but it's true. And then we have The Final The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the third book in the Dream and Billionaire series. I've read The Fine Print, and I've also read Terms and Conditions, also in my last video, so go check that out. This just came out this year. It is the last book that I really want to read, and it's just waiting for me. It's just a very, very thick book about the last brother, Callahan, who throughout the first two books, he was my favorite brother, so I cannot wait to hear his story, and Alana is like a second chance romance type thing. And then the other one is, I don't have it right now, but The Fourth Wing. I don't even know what else to say about this book. The hype is crazy for this book. It's crazy, and I just need to see what it's about. All I know about it is it's fantasy with dragons. That's all I know about it, and that sounds right up my alley, so I definitely want to read that book. It got back ordered on Amazon, so I ordered it a few weeks ago, but it's not going to come until the end of next month. Yeah. And then our fourth question, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. For this one, I only have one. For this one, all I have is One of Us is Back from the One of Us is Lying trilogy. I think it's by Karen M. McManus. I read One of Us is Lying, I read One of Us is Next, and now it's called One of Us is Back. I just am very excited to get my hands on that third book because I did really like the writing in that book. The fifth question is biggest surprise, and I took this as a book that I wasn't really anticipating I would love, but ended up loving. The best example I have is Hidden Pictures by Jason Regulak. I don't know how to say the last name. It was such a surprise for me because one, it hasn't even been on my radar for this year. I didn't even know that it existed. I think I was literally in the mood for a thriller, so I looked on Kindle Unlimited and Hidden Pictures was there and it looked really interesting, and then I read it all in like 2 days. It was so good. I think I gave it 4.5 stars because there were some questionable things, but just overall it was such a good thriller. Like, it kept me on the edge of my seat. I was reading it in bed until like 2 a.m. I could not fall asleep. At some points I had to turn on the lights because I get spooked very easily. It's basically a ghost story about this 19-year-old who was a former drug addict, and now she's in recovery for like 18 months, I think it is, and then she starts nannying for this wealthy family, and it takes place in New Jersey, which is kind of fun because that's where I'm from. Then these weird things start happening. It's this little boy, Teddy, and he starts drawing some very scary pictures. I'll like put a picture right now from it, and yeah, that's the first picture that we saw that he drew, and I was like, whoa, and it just gets creepier from there, believe me. I highly recommend that if you're looking for a good thriller. The sixth question is favorite new author, debut author or new to you author. And I think we all know what this answer is going to be. She's not a debut author, but she is new to me this year. And that is Jessa Hastings with her Magnolia Parks universe series. I have all the books. This series just like it means so much to me personally. She will forever be the author that writes like some of my favorite books. The way she writes her stories, her characters, just makes you get so connected and attached to them, and they really come to life on the page, which is what I love. And the quotes are unmatched so far. I've said too much about Magnolia Parks already, but yes, Jessa Hastings is definitely my favorite new author. New to me. Question 7, newest fictional crush. I have a few. I have BJ from Magnolia Parks series because he is just so in love with Magnolia, and he's a morally gray character, which I have a weakness for the morally gray book boyfriends, so BJ is definitely up there. Also, the fact that he got like 20 something tattoos that all have to do with Magnolia, like, are you kidding me? And then I have Rap from the Kingdom of the Wicked series. You can't see that. Rap from the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I've only read the Kingdom of the Wicked, the first book. I have to read Kingdom of the Cursed and Kingdom of the Feared. The Deadly Sin of Wrath personified. He's a prince of hell, and even in the first book, the way that he treats Amelia, even though she like hates him, is just, you can tell he's like a good guy, you know? And then Wayne Connors from Happy Place. If you read the book, you know, I don't even know what to say. He is not afraid to show his emotions, and it's just sweetheart, such a sweetheart. And then I also, last one, I have Elliot from Love and Other Words. And I spoke about this book also in several other videos on my channel. Also, I said this before, when I was reading this, I just kept picturing Harry Styles as Elliot, and I think that might have helped. But Elliot is such a sweetheart. He's a reader. They have a library together. Like, how cute. And he just hasn't stopped thinking about her for 10 so years. And the minute he sees her again and he thinks there's a chance, he like is all for it, and it's just sweetheart. And then we have Book That Made You Cry. Happy Place did make me cry, but it was just so sweet at the end, and I was just so emotional, and it did make me tear up. And books don't make me tear up, but this one did, and it was for like the best reasons, because it was just so sweet, but it was also so sad at one point. Oh my god. Okay, let me see if I can find it. When I started crying was page 319. So can't find it right now, but if you know, then the outside shower scene with Wynn and Harriet. Skip this part if you haven't read this because I'm gonna say it. They have this really heart-wrenching talk about why they can't be together even though they should be together, like star-crossed lovers vibes. Wynn says, "What is this?" And then Harriet says, "I think it's one final I love you." I just got chills. That, oh my god, that part made me cry. And then next, Book That Made You Happy. I've said these books several times. This book made me cry and made me happy. And this book made me happy, kicking my legs in the air, happy, and just happy the entire time I was reading it. These two books. A lot of books made me happy, to be honest, but those two are the ones that really stuck out to me. The second to last question, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I'm just gonna do it. I think we all know. Magnolia Parks, Long Way Home. I have not read this, but it says book you've bought this year, and I did buy this year, and just look at that cover. Tell me that that is not the most beautiful cover that you have seen. Just everything about it. So, and the back even, that quote, all Magnolia books really, but this one in particular I just love. We have our last question. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? These are books that I've been avoiding for whatever reason and I just really need to get to. The rest of the Magnolia Parks universe series, Magnolia Parks, Long Way Home, and Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, because I think she's coming up with a 5th book. Maybe this year, maybe next year. I think it's this year, so I really want to get through these before I read that one. Also, the Shatter Me series. I only have the first 3 books. If you watch my book haul video, there was like a struggle to get this book, but I have been saying that I'm going to read the Shatter Me series for so long, and I hear it's so good, but there's something that's like just preventing me from starting it because I like have such high expectations now and I'm scared. So just the whole entire Shatter Me series I need to read this year. And then we have this big, huge, massive, probably the biggest book I have in my library, A Court of Silver Flames, which is the 5th book in the ACOTAR series. Right now I'm reading the 4th book. I'm reading the novella. Do not let me finish this year without reading this. I don't know what's stopping me. I don't. It's just the sheer size I think is stopping me. I need to be in the right mood. So yes, that is another one that I need to read. Also, Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I think the 2nd book is The Ballad of Never After because the 3rd book is coming out and I need to read this book. Like, everyone tells me that I will love this book and I just haven't picked it up. And I need to read this entire series by the end of the year. If You Had Dinner With Me by Laura Nolan. Unlike the other books, I know the reason that I have been avoiding this book is because I just hear it's heartbreaking and I have not been in the mood to be heartbroken by a book, so I've been avoiding it. But the 2nd book in this series is coming out this year as well, and I just need to read this book. I need to. It's been on my shelf for months. So yes, that is the last book I need to read by the end of this year. Those are all 11 of our questions for this book tag. That wasn't so bad. This was so much fun. Reflecting on all the books that I read this year. I've really been very lucky in the books that I've read this year. I feel like I've read some really good ones, and I have some really good ones coming up on my TBR that I'm gonna read this year. It's been a good reading month, or reading year. So yeah, that was my mid-year book tag, and let me know any of these questions in the comments because I would love to get more book recommendations. That's what I live for. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.